When you need to build up your team to handle the growing chaos at work, use Indeed Sponsored Jobs. It gives your job post the boost it needs to be seen and helps reach people with the right skills, certifications, and more. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hiring hero? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs.
Mornings have a rhythm. You can hear it, feel it. And at Quaker, we fuel it. With 100% whole grain oats and a good source of fiber in every bowl, helping you turn that rhythm into your soundtrack for a great day. Fuel to start whatever's next. Quaker, official sponsor of FIFA World Cup 26.
Let's go! Let's go!
This is an episode from the archives. I wanted to re-air it for those who are new subscribers to That's Total Mom Sense. And for those of you who have heard it before, I'm sure you'll glean new insights from our conversation. Listen in. There is no hood like parenthood. Hi, I'm Kanika Chadda Gupta. I'm a former CNN journalist, mom of 3, including twins, and host of That's Total Mom Sense, the podcast. Now, if I had $1 every time I heard, gee, you have your hands full. On my show, I interview change makers on their life lessons, legacy, and superpower of intuition, which I call our Mom Sense and Dad Sense. I've had the privilege of working with Mom 2.0, March of Dimes, and the White House, and have had some pretty amazing parents on my show.
Hey, what's up? I'm Kelly Rowland. Hi, this is Chelsea Clinton. It's me, Bobby Brown. Can't wait to share my story.
That's Total Mom Sense is a production of the Evergreen Podcast Network. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and on YouTube so you never miss an episode. To join my tribe, visit thatstotalmomsense.com and follow me on Instagram at Kanika Chadda Gupta. Now let's dive into today's episode. It is super, super hot outside, and I pretty much live in my sunnies. It's my favorite accessory that doesn't cost a fortune, and it instantly elevates my look, whether I'm at a fancy brunch or I'm roughing it out at pickup. And I just figured, why not kick off the podcast by wearing one of my favorite shades today. I am joined by the co-founder. Her name is Danielle McWaters of this lovely brand SARDINE. She is a mom, creative, and is the visionary behind this brand, which is a design-driven eyewear brand that's rewriting the rules on sun protection and style. Danielle, welcome to That's Total Mom Sense.
Thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here and talk sunnies.
Yes, and talk sunnies. Yes. And I'll take these off now, but I'm wearing the front row. What are you rocking?
I am rocking the Aster in Toasted Moxie. So this was actually our first bestseller, continues to be one, and thought we'd go with the OG that really started it all today.
That's amazing. And you know what? I love how we made them match our hair color.
Yeah.
I think that's a thing, you know?
Totally.
It's just when you're trying to color match, think about your hair.
Just start here. Yeah.
Yes. I can't wait to get into it with you. I want to share a little backstory of how we met. It was in New York when you were in town for your pop-up, and it was with Credo Beauty. So this is the collab right here, Credo and SARDINE. And I want to give a shout out to Sarah Ewick, who was the reason I was invited. Love all that she's doing. So Sarah, we love you, and we're going to tag your brand. Yes.
You're the best.
Too.
Truly. Yes.
Thank you. Any kind of event, she has it down pat. It's amazing. So tell us, I guess, how did you meet Sarah?
I actually met Sarah at the event that she hosts here in Oakland, California in the wintertime called Marché. And it's basically a curated marketplace for locals to shop. And her business partner, Betsy, do just an incredible job of putting together really wonderful makers, creatives, doers, thinkers into this space. And we were fortunate enough to be a part of the event last year. We're excited to be doing it again this year. But it is just honestly the most well-produced event that we have ever participated in. And we're just so grateful that Sarah and Betsy put the TLC into making it.
That's amazing. I love it. We always need strong women in our corner lifting us up. Now, let's get into your childhood. I always set the stage this way because it's so interesting, especially when you speak to founders about how they started. Did you ever feel like you were this like made to be entrepreneur?
It's an interesting question. I think back to like, okay, when I'm a real little kid and I remember like drawing on rocks and selling them on the curb, as like my first entrepreneurial stint. But I don't know if that's really entrepreneurial or if all kids really do that. I was very fortunate that I grew up with two parents who were entrepreneurial. They both actually came from kind of the corporate world. My mom was in radio, my dad was in advertising, but as they kind of moved on into their career, they both started businesses in the latter half of their lives. And, they always gave me the message of find something you love and it won't feel like work. And truly like that you can do anything. You just put your mind to it and it will be. So I didn't know it then as much as I know it now of how much their influence really did give me kind of those early tenets of like, hey, that can be a reality for you. And, I still get the encouragement to this day to keep going and to say, pursue the dream. So
that's brilliant. I feel like it's antithetical to what my immigrant parents were saying, where there's
Yes.
like very defined lanes and career paths.
Yeah.
And now we're rewriting that. I think it's great that
For sure.
as we parent our kids and Generation Alpha, they really do have the world at their fingertips and can do anything and be anything they want. Now, tell us some milestones in your career trajectory that got you to what you're doing now.
After college, I was supposed to go to New York and I was a journalism major. I had gotten a job at Sports Illustrated, and then life took me a very different direction. I suddenly had lost my mom and I needed to basically kind of pivot. I remember was sitting across the building of where Sports Illustrated is in New York. I went across the street to a bar. I ordered a beer. I called my dad and I was like, I'm coming home. Like, I can't do this. So I moved back, worked in publishing for a hot minute, quickly got out of that, moved in-house at Benefit Cosmetics. And I was a coordinator on their global art team. And I was very fortunate enough to know Jean and Jane Ford. Jean's daughters are dear friends of mine. And Jean always kind of believed in me. And she just said, get in here, time to get your feet wet. And I remember I sat in on my first creative meeting and I got to see how basically brand was built from new products. So the product team is there, the marketing team, copy team, art team, packaging, engineering team. And after the 2-hour meeting, I realized this is 100% what I want to do. I had no idea that this was a career. I just didn't know, right? You don't know, you don't know. And so I went to my boss and said, this is what I want to do. I want to become a packaging designer. What do I do? So over the next 6 years, I went back to school and got a lot of on-the-job training. And it was a really incredible time to be there. That was when LVMH had purchased Benefit. And so they were going global in terms of expansion, also with their brow bars. And it was just like a really exciting time. And I learned so much from my time there, and particularly from Jean and Jane. But after 6 years, I got really good at beauty. I got good at Benefit, and I was ready for something else. And so in 2014, I launched Designsake, which is the branding agency that I have spent the last 11 years running, and really focusing on working with the Sephora, Credo, Detox Markets of the world, like big beauty brands, to help with anything from brand strategy and positioning work to developing new product launches, packaging design, campaign work, basically all the touch points of having a CPG company. And then I got out of, worked in beauty, but then tried food and beverage. I tried cannabis, went into feminine care, healthcare, sexual wellness. And I'd say at this point in time, I've really touched every category,
Awesome.
which has been wonderful because it keeps it interesting. But those 11 years really got me to this point, which was about 3 years ago. My business partner in SARDINE and I came together, and it was during COVID, and the world was kind of falling apart, and we didn't really know what was next. I didn't know if agencies were still going to even be around. And we were like, what could we do to like pool our skills together? And what if we like make something? You know, we've been in service for so long. Like, I kind of want to make something now. And we just kind of fell into this category of accessories, and particularly sunglasses, and just found that there was this kind of gap in the market. Either we've got kind of your, $30 to $60 pair from Amazon, or you've got your, 400, 500 plus designer brand. And price point aside, even just the aesthetic quality, to say like eyewear tends to be really serious.
Yes.
And and at the same time, it's like, but there was all these kind of shifts happening in accessories to be more playful, colorful, joyful. And we were like, how come eyewear isn't really falling in line with that yet? That was kind of the genesis of SARDINE. And then we just started to do research and looked at all these different kind of shapes, and we were looking at acetates, and we were like, let's just kind of throw paint at a wall and see if it sticks. So that was what we did. We took one frame, which was the Aster, and we made it in 5 colorways, and we sold that for about a year. But just to learn, right? To learn from our customers, to learn what worked, what didn't. Like, you're learning everything about size, fit, comfort. Lauren and I are not traditional eyewear designers. I am a visual designer, so I have adjacent skills and kind of language and intuition on how it works. But there's a lot of technicalities to making eyewear. That was kind of the start. That was, kind of came into the world as a creative, built that skill set, and then decided to say, wait, I help other people build brands. Why shouldn't I build my own?
Absolutely. I know we always have that aha moment that's like, I'm getting really good at this skill. And,
Yeah.
Whether it's a hard skill or a soft skill, whatever it may be, you're like, I could totally turn this into something. And I'm
Yep.
so glad you went with that gut feeling of yours. How did you come up with the name SARDINE?
We had a different name before. We had launched in market as Wolf Spout. And then basically, as we had gotten further into market and we were developing more frames and we're at more shows, we kind of ran into some hurdles around people remembering it, being hard to say. And honestly, there was some limitations for us in really being able to tell the story that we wanted to tell. And so part of that really was we kept kind of hearing like, oh, I really like this, but I don't know if I can do that, or if like these might be a little too bold for me. I don't know if I can kind of give myself permission to wear this. And so a lot of our styles come from like European sensibilities. So Europeans play with more color. They're just more relaxed and laid back and fun. And so we were like, how do we get that feeling of Europe and just like that European ethos, but without being so like on the nose, whether it's like a, like Costa del Sol or, just something that's like a little too close. And honestly, we have a little bit of funk and we love that. And,
Yes.
So that was kind of where we were like, okay, what are things that, are in Europe and take us there? And SARDINE just kind of fit. And then, looking into it, sardines are an acquired taste. And that was the aha moment. We were like, that's it. Like, it's SARDINE. We are an acquired taste. And, there's kind of that double entendre there where, yes, we're an acquired taste, but really what our purpose is to say like, you can have it, right? Like, just try it. And, maybe you have to try it a few times before you're like, oh, okay. And that's okay. Like, we're here for that journey. We're here to be like, try it one more time. Try it this way. Try it that way. And, sardines actually have like a crazy history in like the world in terms of how it's started industries. It has like nourished many people in all parts of the world. There's all these different types. Yeah, there's just like a lot of stories and threads that you can kind of pull on to really that tie back to what we're trying to do. So that kind of bold, that funky, interesting, dynamic accessory, but also it's really fun to then tie into the food language, which is that sardines are rich in omega, fatty acids and vitamin D, and they have all these health benefits. And that's actually kind of what we're also trying to say is, you smile a little bit more when you're wearing sardines. You get compliments that really fill your cup. Like there's a lot of health benefits to actually wearing a pair of sardines on a day to day. As you said, whether you're actually dropping your kids off at school and you're like, I don't have it in me. I'm in my sweatsuit and I'm throwing these on. Or, you know what, like I've got a fancy dinner this evening, or I've got a, girls brunch that I want to dress up for, or want to just feel a little bit of something extra. It's the little bit of extra that we're really trying to harness.
Yes, yes, I love that. And I mean, I think the branding and logo is super cute. I love that this
Thank you.
little tassel is a sardine. And if
Yeah.
you wanted, you could take your glasses and stuff them in a bag
Yeah.
like sardines. They will all
Exactly.
fit.
You can
They'll
fit them
all,
in there like a tin.
exactly. I feel like I could fit like 10 in here. And they
You
would be just
can.
fine. Yeah, no cracks, no.
Exactly. And that's the other part. Like people, particularly in eyewear, we have all had a pair that's like our coveted pair. It's like we spend a lot of money on this pair and we love them and they have all these details that we, are proud to rock. And, but what ends up happening is because they're so precious, you're less inclined to grab them on a day-to-day basis, right? You only bring them out for this special occasion. And that's not really what we want with Sardine. We want it to be the pair that you grab every day, that actually really does wear with you in all these different seasons, through all these different occasions. And, we spent a lot of time actually getting the quality right, that you can give them some wear and tear and they will wear with you. Yeah, that's our hope, is like, wear them.
Yes, yes. They're so
Yeah.
fun. And there's a variety of them. I love that you started with just one style in various colorways, because it's the best way to
Yeah.
beta test, since you wanted to make sure, like, what are the colors that are doing well and
Yeah.
people are gravitating towards. But now tell
Yeah.
us in the collection how many there are.
Where we're at now. So we are about to actually launch our 8th shape on Thursday. But so we went from 1 to 8. And then I would say between each of our shapes, we have anywhere from 3 to 5 colorways. We've grown, and I would say we kind of basically doubled our collection year over year. And part of that, exactly, kind of going back to your like starting with one, right? It's really interesting. It felt crazy in the moment to do it, but also thinking back to my branding experience, it's exactly what I would tell someone to do, right? In terms of like, you have to test a product, right? You could have the best brand, you could have marketing, you could have the identity, the tone of voice, but if you do not have a quality product, it does not matter. You have to sell units. That is what you're doing at the end of the day. So to be able to take your time and really say, like, make your hero, right? Make your MVP, then you can expand from there and there and there. But you have to be known for something first and like build that loyalty, build that trust. I think that's actually one of the smartest things that we have done, is really be disciplined about that logic in growing our collection. Because let me tell you,
Yes.
it's very tempting to keep adding more because, your customers are like, what about this shape? Or what about this colorway? And you really have to say, okay, we hear you.
Not
You will
yet.
find a time and a space for that, but it's not going to be right now or maybe this
Right.
year. It's been really fun. And then I think, the other big piece is experimenting with unique acetates. Acetate is the other thing that really sets us apart from other eyewear brands, is that, we're experimenting, with colorway. This is like our Cosmic Cowboy acetate, which we love. We're also really known for, this is our Pool Boy Blues, which is a stripe that no one else is doing. So infusing that sense of play, even in product development, because you see it happen where, okay, we all know people love a tortoise and people love a black. There's nothing wrong with that. We're not trying to say like, get rid of that, just to say like, great, that has like a place in your accessories drawer. We're going to push that a little bit more to say like, try maybe a color, maybe try a pattern, maybe try a texture.
Yeah, I love that. We spoke about this when we met. It's like the business school case. Will the dog eat the dog food? So,
Exactly.
you can make the packaging and marketing impeccable. If the dog's not going to eat the dog food, you don't have a product market fit at all. Tell us about the process. Like, how long does it take from going from a sketch to the physical product in your hand, and a little bit about, the manufacturing and just process behind it.
We're getting better at this year over year because we're learning basically how to really backtrack from manufacturing. And again, when you're so used to being in service, you're in control of your own time, energy, outputs, right? So it's a bit unnerving to then switch gears and be like, oh, all of this is so contingent on so many other people. So we're learning about that. But I would say from when we initially do the sketch to when it goes into production, it can vary. I would say the fastest time is about 4 to 5 months. And then the longer time is probably, 8 to 9 months. So we're trying to basically build our entire collection a year out. Then we figure out when the drops are going to happen and trying to line those up, obviously kind of with peak season, which is about April through July. Yeah. And so really what we try to do is we look at the entire collection. We're really looking at shape. We're really taking the feedback we get from everybody at shows, and we do a lot of shows, to really understand, like, what are we hearing over and over again? So much about marketing, branding is pattern matching, right? Is really being a good listener and saying, like, what is the thing I keep hearing over and over again, whether it's about shape, whether it's about colorway, whether it's about fit. And then we take kind of all of those learnings and say, okay, this one continues to do really well for us. That's a frame that we're going to say we're going to just add maybe 1 or 2 additional colorways, or we're really missing this smaller, narrow, type frame. We really need to build her out and figure out what's going to be that next kind of missing piece for the collection. Because as you grow, what we continue to find is you're really just trying to say, like, oh, people have their pre-existing notions of what they can wear. And so part of that is really just opening their aperture to say, you can actually wear this shape and here's why. Or just trying to get them comfortable with, like, okay, sometimes you're like, I want this big dramatic cat eye.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes.
For the days I want to feel extra, like, we have her for you. I would say the sketching is, I would say probably about a month. Then production is about 3 to 4 months. And then, you can kind of get into market.
And what are some of the price points? Because I feel like with luxury sunglasses, you can drop thousands, and this feels and looks just as luxury and at a fraction of the price.
So we really spent a lot of time trying to figure out, like, the right balance, right? So in terms of an acetate, we're going to use a 4 to 6 millimeter. We're using Zeiss lenses, which are the highest quality lenses, titanium rods that will help, acetate's very malleable. So like and it does obviously adjust to heat, but you can, like, tighten them, loosen them, kind of have some of that flexibility to fit, and really empowering our customers to say, like, you can do that. You won't break them. Like, it's okay. We want to give you permission to do that. So in terms of price point, we have a 165, a 179, and a 195. So everything's sub 200. Most of our customers tend to get more than one pair. It's kind of like you're building your sardine tin of accessories. And I think, honestly, people really come back equal parts because they can feel the quality. They're really comfortable to wear as much as they are, like, appealing to the eye. Yeah. And exactly the price point. It is an investment, but it's not something that you're going to, like, catch your breath on, hopefully. And, that it is a piece that you're going to wear with you for quite some time.
Could you give us some intel on the science behind, blocking these UVA and UVB rays? Because that's really, really important with sun protection, eye protection too.
So a couple of things. So a lot of times people ask, okay, well, what's the protection on your frames? So all of our frames have 100% UVA, UVB protection, which is the rays that you're going to be kind of surrounded by on a day-to-day basis. Polarization is a question that comes up a lot in terms of, are our frames polarized? They are not. Polarization really is something that's key if you, like, live on the water or the snow, area where you have high refraction all the time. And I would also say a lot of our customers actually prefer not to have it, just because sometimes it's really hard to read your phone when you have a polarized lens. We are actually looking into offering it as like a add-on service, but generally speaking, all of our frames don't have polarization, but they do have 100% UVA, UVB protection. And as someone, I have very, very light green eyes. They do the trick. And I would also say, you got to wear sunscreen and you got to wear a hat.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like we have to cover all the bases when it comes to that. When we're
Yeah, all the
outside.
bases.
Now let's switch gears and talk about family life. You know, I just want to go back to how you lost your mom at such an impressionable age. And I'm so sorry that you had to go through that. I feel like in your 20s and 30s, when you want your mom to come home to as you're building your life. So for those who are listening who may have gone through the same thing, or, you know, we are navigating the sandwich generation. My mom has Alzheimer's, and you know that's something that I openly speak about on the show. What have you learned through just navigating and sitting with grief?
Oh, there's a lot. I would say my first kind of general takeaway is like grief is never linear and it is lifelong. And I think that one of the greatest testaments of my mother is that she was the first one to pick me up out of it right when it happened. And she continues to be that person for me, even 18 years later after losing her. I remember I lost her my first semester of my senior year. And it was, you know, she was hit by a car. She was hit by an elderly woman in San Francisco on a date with my dad. And so it was very sudden. It was very traumatic. And, you know, I remember kind of coming home. I was at school in Boston. I remember coming home and thinking like, well, what do I do? Like, I don't know what to do now. And I heard her so clearly to me, which was like, of course I know what you're going to do. You're going to get back on that plane and you're going to finish college. I didn't work that hard to like send you to this amazing school to get you this great education. Like, you're going to finish that thing out, girl. And I was like, wow, okay. You know, and I would say, you know, and that's exactly what I did. And, you know, like I had some zigzags in my 20s and I can look back at that now and really identify what that was. But I will say that she continues to always be in my ear. I feel her all the time. And I think, honestly, I was very fortunate in that I had an incredible love with my mom. We are soulmates. I still feel very connected to her. And I think about that in relation to having a son now, right? In terms of being a parent and just truly knowing the meaning of what that love can do for your child in this life or next, you know? And I just, I'm so grateful that I had her, that she picked me and that we got to like have 21 amazing years together. And I read this incredible book called Signs. I don't know if you've heard of it. And I read it, my best friend gave it to me, and it's really all about how you develop a relationship with someone you've lost on the other side. And it really honestly spoke to me, and it really like changed so much about my relationship with my mom currently, which I know it sounds so crazy, but I'm like, we're still very close and I feel her all the time. I have signs with her. She shows up for my son. Like they have their own relationship, which is like truly remarkable. Grief has been really challenging, but in so many ways it has shaped the person I am. And it has like tested my resilience and my vulnerability in ways that it can only do.
Yes.
And I will say, like, I'm really grateful for learning that lesson so young, because so much of how I approach life is you just don't know what you're going to get. And so how do you make choices from a place that's like, okay, if I don't have all the time in the world, if tomorrow is it, how will I feel? Will I feel like I have done the things, have said the things, have, you know, you kind of just get used to that mentality. And it's honestly really helped me in making a lot of important decisions in my life and kind of just like the ethos of how I live.
Yes. Yes. Oh, that really lands. I'm so sorry. And I'm really grateful that you're sharing your story with us. And I already have a list of friends I want to send the book signs to, and of course, read it
It's so
myself.
good. I cannot
Oh
recommend it
my
enough.
God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Just to
Yeah.
feel that connection again. I think when you're going through loss, it's like you want to
Exactly.
grab onto something, and that's going to help you find that way. That's amazing.
For sure.
Um,
And loss
and
is,
yeah,
I feel like we've all experienced it in like, battling with Alzheimer. Like there's different ways in which grief shows, right? Or there's different ways of loss. And I think being open and, to really be there for other people through that too. It's like, I have a couple of other dear friends of mine who lost their mom too young too. And there's like kind of this like motherless daughters club. And we're like, what a sad club to be in.
yeah.
But at the same time, it's also so wonderful to be able to share in that grief, and that like there is just kind of this love and acceptance and community that comes from that. And I think a lot of people are, sometimes scared or timid to share that, right? It's obviously a very deeply vulnerable thing to open up about, but the other side of it is really promising and can actually, I think, change the way that you think about grief and loss.
I'm so with you. If you can share a little bit about your motherhood journey and,
Yeah.
about your little one at home, because I feel like that's its own beautiful love that manifests. And it's something that, the majority of my community has in common.
I will say, truly, having lost my mom, the idea of motherhood was really hard for me because I didn't know if I could do it without her. And so I, kind of thought about it for a while, and I kind of wavered, and then I kind of was like, I think this is an experience in life I really want to have. Just, I think my mom set the bar really high. And so thinking about that was just like, how am I going to fill those expectations? Or like, how can I be what she was? Right. And the reality is like, that's not what the assignment is, right? Like, this is my own personal journey, and really choosing to bring another human in this world will be my own experience, and she will be part of it, but not at the center of it. And so I had Remy in 2019, and he was 3 months old before the pandemic hit. So at the time, I had just had him. I feel like I was just kind of getting in the like sea legs of, having a newborn and feeding, and COVID hit. And then I was going back to work, and I was running my agency. So it was a really, really tough time. It kind of felt like all at once, like I was trying to figure out like, well, how do I take care of this, my newborn? And I'm trying to figure out like what the heck's going on with my body and pumping, and, and then try to take care of this team during this like really crazy, uncertain time where people's lives and health were at stake. And it was really kind of wild, to be honest. And I will say it was very isolating, because I couldn't see my dad. My dad was high risk. I couldn't even really see my friend. It was just kind of this like weird. This is a really weird time. Yeah. It's a really weird time. But I also think about, I did get a lot of time with him at home, and, kind of this forced slowdown in other ways that was really a gift. And I kind of fast forward, he's 5.5 now, he'll be 6 in September. But I will say like right now is the absolute best. Like I feel like we are peaking as parents, and with him, he's just at such a fun age where like imagination is wild. He's such an endlessly curious kid. He's got a heart of gold. He's like an old soul. Like I just know it,
Yeah.
He has added so much to my life that I think about, like all that fear, right? That's all that was fear, and that narrative of how can I do it? How can I do it without her? Again, when I really like calm my mind, I can hear her say like, of course you could do it. You can do anything, right? Like it's just this constant positive feedback loop, but it's not from it's from such a genuine place. Yeah. And it's been really wild. And, we have days where he'll come to the office with me, and, he just wants to print pictures, and he'll want to pack sunglass cases, or, he asks me to make him a frame. He's like, oh, I really like this blue acetate. Can you make me this one and have it by next week? And I'm like, well, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah,
Um,
that's so cute.
but yeah, but it's really quite a remarkable journey in being able to watch like a little human unfold. Like
Yeah.
it is the greatest gift, honestly. And I feel so blessed to have him. And he's the best decision I ever made. And he really does ground me, right? Everyone I feel like says that, but man, talk about a perspective shift. It just helps so much when you're just like, got to be honest, at the end of the day, like, this is not it. This is it. Like,
Right.
and I'm so grateful for that. And how quickly that happens, right? I think prior to me having him, I would have swirled in a lot of things a lot more, and now it's just like, oh, it's just not a question.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
this is what I need to do. And like, that's it. What's next?
Yes, I call it our mom sense. It's our built-in sixth sense. It's an intuition that you can't even explain sometimes. You're just like, I just know. Can you share a moment where you trusted this mom sense that you have when it comes to your son or even Sardine?
I mean, part one of it was birth, actually. Like I had a crazy birth story and I just knew we had trust in each other that we were going to be okay. And I had to get him out. I had 3 pushes or we were going to the OR and things were changing quite quickly. And I just remember just being like, yeah, you got this. Let's go. And I got him out. And he came out and he just looked at me and fed on me for a full hour. And we just kind of stared at each other, just like kind of awe of like, wow, it's kind of just, you're here, like you and me, kid. And then I would say, mom sense, it kind of ties back to my mom. He has such an emotional awareness. And I think that is one of the things that I want to cultivate so much as a parent and as a mom, and how well that will serve him as like a human in this world. And to just be able to give him language to that when those moments arise, to validate like that emotional awareness is correct and like stay open, because I just think that has served me really well in my life. And I think, you get more love and empathy and joy and sometimes even sadness when you're that open. But after my mom, my friend gave me this book too, which is Cahill Gilbran's The Prophet. And in it, there's a line about sorrow and grief. And basically it was like, the deeper that sorrow carves into your being, the more joy you can contain. And it's such the truth about life, right? It's like the more you are willing to feel, like you feel the thing, whether it's the good thing or the hard thing. And honestly, I wouldn't want it any other way. And I like want to teach Remy that at the end of the day is like, that's life. That's part of the human experience. And if you can stay open to that, because the world's going to try to close you in and like make you feel less of that as you go on, then to me, that's like my victory as a parent.
Let's do a quick rapid fire
Okay.
as we close out, and let's put on another pair of sunnies.
Let's do it.
So are you a morning person or a night owl?
Morning person, without a doubt.
And if you were to distill the best part of parenthood, what is it?
Oh, the cuddles.
Yes. A sunglass style that defines your mood right now.
Actually, I would say it's this one. It's the Millie. She's this great, chic kind of hexagon shape with like a flat lens that really takes me back to the 70s, which I have no doubt I was like meant to be a 70s child. Like I was meant to be like disco dancing queen. I'd like missed my era, but I'm trying to bring her back and keep her, living through disco music. And I just love that era of style and fashion.
Absolutely iconic. Last thing that you Googled.
How to make the date Snickers bars.
Ooh, amazing. Yes.
Really good.
Yeah. We always need the sugar substitutes.
Exactly.
A founder's or entrepreneurial habit that you swear by.
Whenever I feel stuck, move. Like I move my body, I go for a hike, I go for a walk, I do a spin class. Like I have to move through it in order to get to the other side of it. So anytime I feel stuck, move.
Great advice. One word to describe SARDINE.
Fun.
Nice. One word to describe motherhood.
Dimensional.
And lastly, your superpower.
I'm a pretty open, like I think being vulnerable. I have a tendency to be really open myself, which I think makes people feel hopefully safe, or that they can do the same. Because at the end of the day, I really believe like it's all about people and connection. Like that is what we are meant to live off of.
Yes.
And it fills my cup just as much. So just being able to remind myself of that and live there.
That's excellent. And that's just, an amazing legacy to live by. I feel like it's all about being honest with yourself and allowing those around you to feel comfortable too. And that's the impact and ripple effect that you put out there. And now tell our listeners and viewers and audiences all over social where they can find you and SARDINE.
Yes, wonderful. You can find us at sardine.net. Yes, we are bringing the net back to the internet. And our handle on social is just at SARDINE.net, all one word.
Amazing. Definitely check out this brand. They are my fave this summer, and I can't wait to rock these sunnies on a dreary winter's day too. Just as the best pick me up. So thank you. And Danielle, I really appreciate you being vulnerable with us today and sharing your story and your light. It means so much.
Thank you, Kanika, so much for having me.
Thanks for listening to this episode of That's Total Mom Sense. You can listen to the audio version wherever you get your podcasts. Just search for That's Total Mom Sense. You can learn more about my guests by logging on to www.thatstotalmomsense.com. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, where I'm most active on social media. My handle is @KanikaChadda-Gupta. And if you have ideas for show topics or guests you can't wait to have on the show, write to me at thatstotalmomsense@gmail.com. And lastly, please rate, review, and subscribe to That's Total Mom Sense if you haven't already. Thanks for being in my tribe.